If you're afraid, like it's Christmas or whatever, your voice, your tonality will show that. So as soon as they say, oh, it's Christmas, we'll wait till the new year. If you're like, oh yeah, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're basically like defeated. Like, oh, another person who said that, then you'll never ever get the sale. But if they say that and you respond with optimistic, joyful, happy, certain, confident energy, like of course, that makes perfect sense. But you know what? Maybe you didn't realize, but the majority of people actually get started during the holidays for these reasons. So then now they want to fit in with the majority rather than, feel left out or get FOMO. So that's how you handle it. The biggest thing with the 4A duplication culture is to not expect the 4A, like the people who just hit 4A, to lead their new team that got them to 4A because it's too soon. So you want to basically be the ones leading the 4As and their people to 4A. And then once they hit 6A, then they start to kind of take over some of that role, but not at 4A. It's a little too early. You just want everybody at that point to keep focusing on like the 4A game plan. Because if you look at it, like if they can enroll people into the vision and the mission and everything that's going on, then let's just use simple numbers. But if you're selling one product at a time, then you got 20 people to go 4A, right? In some cases, it's trifectas and quads. So it's like less overall people. That's fine. But if you get 4 of them or 5 of them to 4A, then now you're 6A. How you want to do this is you want, as soon as they become 4A, they are now apprenticing the action steps that are necessary. For example, taking sales calls. They will now start to take their own sales calls. However, you need to have a way for them to role play and practice. You don't want to just basically trust that they are experienced enough and know what they're doing to crush those sales calls if they haven't been doing their calls and you guys have been supporting or helping them reach 4A by doing something like a sales call. You don't want to be like, you're 4A, okay, you're on your own, good luck with the sales calls, because then that could really kill momentum right there. So my personal belief is that we are training people side by side. So when you're doing a sales call, it's best if the prospect who generated that lead is listening to the sales call in real time, not like you're doing it for them and they're doing something else. And they're like, oh, thanks for taking care of my sales for me. That's not how you're going to learn anything. So the expectation should be, we'll do the sales calls on your behalf, but you need to attend the sales call. Like you need to be on the call and just shut up and listen and learn. And you're going to have a few opportunities, minimum 3 to 5 calls. Well, you will see how we do the call, how we structure the call, how we ask the questions, how we handle objections, how we ask for the sale, how we get them started, how we do financing, all those specific things. And then you give them a script or a framework on how these sales calls are supposed to go that they can study, like a playbook, sales call playbook or something along those lines. And so they have a document to like the introduction, the body, the presentation, objection handling, closing. Like there's a structure there. It doesn't have to be word for word. It's just kind of like you're going to flow from this to this to this to this. And then obviously every person will be slightly different with the conversation and what they say. It'll be some nuances, but like generally speaking, you can bring it back to the plan. When you're stuck or you don't know where to go, you're going to kind of bring it back to this next section so they can stay on track. So you give them that and then you do a call and you follow that same structure. So they're like, they have a document, but then they see it in real time and they realize like it wasn't word for word. You were just being yourself. You were building rapport. You were letting the customer sort of bring things up and you know how to handle it. So they realize, okay, there's a plan here. There's a structure, but I can also just be me and not be all stressed out about like saying the wrong thing. Then they experience that. Hit 4A, and then you say, okay, we're now going to join you on the call, but you're going to do all the talking and we're going to listen to you for a few calls. And the handoff, if you think about any apprenticeship model in the world, a mechanic, an electrician, an engineer, all these things that have these like doctors and nurses and all of this stuff has an apprenticeship like portion of their education. You do not let the nurse treat a patient until you've been watching them do the IVs and check their blood pressure and write down their vitals. And you're literally watching them and they're like, they got it. They did it correctly a few times. then you now have full faith and trust, like you know what's going on. I don't need to be here anymore. You're able to kind of do these things now on your own. So most of the time we do a terrible job overall in this entire industry, including in Agic, of not handing things off in a way where you have proof they know what they're doing, like 100% evidence that they know what to say, they know how to close, they know how to fill out the paperwork. You know what I mean? Like they fully know what they're doing. And then when this actually happens, have you achieved duplication? You have now officially duplicated yourself times one, not times 1,000, not times 300 million a year. Just you duplicated into one other person. But the thing that is the most important is that this duplication has now set the standard and the culture for your business. Because what is that person going to do? The one you just duplicated. What are they going to do when they teach their person? They're going to be like, okay, they got to be on the call with me, just like I was on the call with them. Is this starting to make sense? So then you literally are creating a duplication system of we're handing over full control of your Enagic business when we know that you know what you're doing. So this is how you create like long-term growth and success, because in the short term it's going to feel slow. You're like, well, I only have capacity for 5 new direct sales per month, 5 to 10, let's say, because each of those 5 to 10 people are going to put 5 calls on your calendar each week, right? So now you have 5 people that you just launched this month. They each do 5 calls a week. That's 25 calls a week for you. That's 25 hours approximately. And that's not even team calls and other things that you're also doing. So that's starting to be like a pretty full schedule. But the goal is by the end of the month, you've had enough calls with each new person, roughly 20 per person per month. And out of those 20, you've helped them onboard at least 5, which is a very reasonable conservative closing percentage of 25%. 5 out of the 20. They've heard now you close a sale with a real person 5 times in 1 month. And then you shift to 5 more new directs next month, do the same sort of cycle, but you're also able to like assist on listening in on some of their calls and making sure. And even if you're not able to be on it live, you could make sure they record the call, transcribe the call, and then give you the recording and the transcription, and you can run it through ChatGPT to save yourself some time, just to make sure that they're handling things correctly, answering the questions correctly. They're not giving misinformation. They're not making claims. They know what's up. Just imagine what would happen to your business if you did this for 12 months and then everybody in your business who was 4A did this for 12 months and everyone who's in your 6A did this for 12 months. It would go kaboom. Is that making sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, total sense. And I think maybe we were a bit premature with a few things, especially handing off some business setup calls to the point where we've actually gone back on them with them. And I think it just goes back to this thing that you told us literally on one of our first calls as well, that I think we're trying to jump the gun a little bit too much. I mean, it's a bit premature, but and we just need to be a bit more patient, and actually the work that it might seem like we're doing a little bit more now, but that's going to benefit us in the long term, and that's exactly how we want to duplicate as well. So it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another example sometimes people can relate to is a franchise model like a McDonald's or these kinds of restaurants or businesses that are all over the world in every country, every language, all these things, right? So if you look at it from that point, they literally have a McDonald's university. I'm not sure if you've ever heard this before. So you want to have your own franchise. Not only does it cost like, I don't even know what the most recent cost is, was probably like 2 million just to open a McDonald's, right? Like overhead. It's crazy. But then if you have the money, that's one thing. Then they say now you have to go to McDonald's University, which I'm not sure. I think it's in the USA somewhere, and literally get hands-on training on everything. How to make the French fries, how to make a cheeseburger, how to make a Big Mac, everything. And you get tested on it, and then you get a certificate of like completing McDonald's University. Then you go fly to Timbuktu, literally in the middle of nowhere, where nothing else is anywhere similar to America, and McDonald's runs exactly the same. This is literally the same thing as building an adjunct. We have the same machines, we have the same water, the same compensation plan, and yet we're all over the world where cultures and demographics and ages and religions are all very different. Water's the same, science is the same, comp plan is the same, how we do a sales call is the same, how we talk to people is the same. Does that make sense? So you are now basically doing your version of McDonald's University, but you're doing it based on your team, your culture, how you've grown your business and the things that you believe in, and implementing this. So when you truly train a direct sale to 4A, handing them the keys, they can go back and open their Enagic franchise, and you have full trust that they know what's up because
That
that process is what will duplicate.
Yeah. No, I think that's I've never heard of McDonald's University, but that kind of just analogy makes so much sense in terms of how we can best support people to do what we do. Because I think sometimes, again, with training, you can almost miss out some steps just by not realizing you're doing them anyway, just from obviously we've been doing this for 5 years. There are going to be like tiny little nuances that we probably forget, which I
Exactly.
think,
They,
yeah,
they
make
they
it
have
really
become like
hands-on.
second nature for you now.
Yeah, exactly. But on that as well, like with some of our kind of recent sales calls, not just for us, but we do go on the sales calls for quite a lot of our team, especially new people, and they come on with us. We've
Perfect.
had a lot of this is just on the objection thing you said earlier. We're obviously getting quite a few of the objections about Christmas. And I just wanted to hear how you best handle that. I'm going to wait to the new year, basically. If there anything you specifically find works well.
There's so many things. The golden rule with anything that is like a very strong objection, and it could be like they're so certain that you're going to take that objection, be like, oh, of course, I totally get it, right? They're saying it like that. Like I'll give you an example. When I did door-to-door sales, I would knock on someone's door around roughly like dinner time. They'd open the door and they were like, I'm just going to tell him we're about to eat dinner. He's going to leave for sure. Of course he will. We're busy. And at first I did. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. Have a nice dinner, right? Because I didn't have the confidence. I wasn't certain. I wasn't strong enough to like know what to do. And then I learned what I'm about to share is that whatever it's, however strongly they feel about that particular reason or objection, you flip it immediately with confidence and certainty is that's exactly why you should do it right now. And it just breaks their brain for a second because you've taken that energy, that momentum that they believe so strongly in whatever they're saying. And you're like, of course you're eating dinner. It's a perfect time to get started because you can eat your dinner and I'll explain the products to you. I'll save you $600 and I'll be out of here before you're finished your dinner in 15 minutes. Is the best time to sign up. And they're like, oh, okay. Like they literally are like, I never considered that I could sit there, eat my food, and listen while you save me money upgrading my products and giving me faster internet and more TV channels and saving me money on my bill. And by the time I'm done my supper, you're out of here. That's a sweet deal. They don't have to be separate. So that's one example. Another example was when people said, we're just renovating our house right now. We don't want to make any changes till we're done the renovations. And then I would do the same thing. I'd be like, that's so awesome. It's the perfect time to switch out your old shitty internet and TV, just like you're switching your old shitty kitchen. Let's get the new stuff in. And they're like, oh, never thought of it like that. Out with the old, in with the new. Out with the renovation, in with the new internet. It's the same thing. You're already on this mindset. They're like, actually, that makes sense. Come on in. So you just take that energy. So this goes right back to Christmas. I'll do it after the holidays. I'm busy and whatever. It's like, actually, no, this is the perfect time for you to get started because this is going to get you write-offs for this year. This is going to get you on track with your New Year's goals, with your health, your wellness, your finances, your lifestyle goals. So by the time the holidays and Christmas comes next year, you could potentially be so much further than you are right now. So you just flip it as the exact reason why it's the best time of the year to do it. Now, another thing is you could come up with some kind of Christmas bonus incentive, and that could also sweeten the pot, right? Like if you do the EAPA points, as an example, you can donate $500 worth of points to someone through an adjunct, like officially off of their machine products. So that's one example of like doing this for the next 5 people, getting them $500 off their product purchase, like a K8 or something. You could create like a tax guide, obviously depending on what country you're marketing for an adjunct. Like if you're running it in the UK or elsewhere, you can use ChatGPT to create like a home-based business tax playbook, tax write-offs playbook, value it at 297, and then just give it as a free bonus for anybody who buys a trifecta. Like you can create all these different things. You could launch a mastermind or an incentive that is going to happen in January or February or March. Anybody who gets started this month before the new year gets a free ticket to this event. All you got to do is pay for your flight and your accommodations, or depending on how you're doing it. So you don't want to like cover everything and be out of pocket a lot of money, but you can be like smart about it. And you know that if you get 10 trifectas or quads this month, that'll give you X amount in commissions. You take 30% of that towards this event. All they got to do is get there and then you take care of them, you know? So that's how you want to do it. You want to say like, this is the best time of the year to get started because most people can get a lot of additional benefits for 2025 tax purposes. You can ask them their New Year's resolutions or goals, like maybe they want to lose some body fat or they want to get fitter or they want to have more energy. These are all very common goals people have. We know that Kangen water can help with all of those things. And then also financial goals. A lot of the time, this is the time of the year people reflect like, I thought I'd be further ahead financially, but I'm not. I thought I would have less debt, but I don't. Or I thought I would save more money, but I didn't. So now it's like an opportunity to kind of look at the truth. What did you really create in this year? And if you're unhappy with those results, these could contribute towards making 2026 a better, more successful, healthier year for you. So what you have to remember is if you're afraid of this objection, like it's Christmas or whatever, your voice, your tonality will show that. So as soon as they say, oh, it's Christmas, we'll wait till the new year. If you're like, oh yeah, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're basically like defeated, like, oh, another person who said that, then you'll never ever get the sale. But if they say that and you respond with optimistic, joyful, happy, certain, confident energy, like, of course, that makes perfect sense. But you know what? Maybe you didn't realize, but the majority of people actually get started during the holidays for these reasons. So then now they want to fit in with the majority rather than, feel left out or get FOMO. So that's how you handle it. And you just have to be very matter of fact, like you anticipate it. Like, of course, Christmas is coming up. You can even share like this is going to be the most abundant holidays you've ever had in your life thanks to this business because you started it 5 years ago. So by them starting now, imagine what kind of holidays they'll have in the future. So you basically are using your story as an example of like, yeah, we love the holidays because we finally have money and time freedom and purpose and feel amazing from the products. So you're now the example of why they should start today rather than delay and wait.